Okay, anybody got anything else, Mr. Eric Lovestrand? We do appreciate you coming in today.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda will be Mr. Welton Caldwell, Public Entity Specialist presentation. Please come forward, state your name for the record.
Thank you. Welton Cadwell from Preferred Government Insurance Trust. Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, I appreciate you giving me a few minutes of your time. As a former elected official, 28 years, I sit in the audience and really thank you, because I know your time's precious and we'll be brief. Being my first job other than county commissioner in years, I was in a city council meeting not long ago, and someone made a motion in a second, and they voted, and I voted from the audience. And everybody looked at me like I'd lost my mind. So today I've caught myself. I haven't done that. But I assumed after all those years of being elected official, I'd ride off to wherever old commissioners go. And an opportunity came forward with Preferred Government Insurance Trust that lets me still be involved with local government, cities, counties, special districts. And I just wanted to share with you a little bit about it. I've got Kurt Heyman with me, who's going to come up and give you a little history, and then we'll be able to answer any questions for you. I've also got some handouts that I'll leave with Michael to get to you if you don't mind. But again, it's good to see you all again, and Kurt's going to come forward now.
Sure. My name is Kurt Heyman. I'm with the Preferred Governmental Insurance Trust. Likewise, thank you very much for a little time this morning to talk about our insurance program to you. Welton has been a great addition to my team, I'll tell you, since the fall. So we're having a lot of fun around the state and hope to continue. A little bit about our program. Some of you may be familiar with it. I don't know. We've looked at the county's insurance once since our existence. We started back in 1999, and we started providing all the lines of property and liability and workers' compensation and so forth for all types of government, cities, counties, special taxing districts. We actually work with some school boards. Our program is now evolved 17 years later. We have 425 roughly participating entities or members. Of that number, we have 23 counties of the 67 that participate in our program. And we're a little unique from the competitors. You're currently with, the League of Cities program, county trust, and have been for a good while. But we utilize insurance agents, independent agents that market and represent our program. So we kind of have that uniqueness to our program. Just to give you a feel for some of the local folks that we insure, we do have the city of Apalachicola. We work with Gulf County, Wakulla County, Santa Rosa County, Walton County. So we've got a fair representation up here in the Panhandle. Our operation, I work out of Orlando. That's where all of our services and all are provided out of. But our focus really since our inception back in 1999 has really been on service to our members in the way of loss control, safety training, working with claims and so forth, and really being a responsive program for our members. It's pretty conservative. We started out back in 1999 with just over $5 million in premium, and we've grown now to this year we topped out over 100. We're at about 103 million. And we're right in par with our main competitors. So, we'd like the opportunity to maybe, it's been 10 years, since we provided a proposal to y'all, and we thought maybe, the timing might be good to show you what we can bring you. One unique feature of our program that I don't want to miss is that a couple years ago we came out with what we call a 2-year rate guarantee program. So if we were to quote you, for example, for this coming October of 17, we would quote you with rates and credits and so forth, but we would guarantee that pricing for 2-year period. So it gives you obviously some certainty, beyond just a year. And the real feature of it, of course, and you would really benefit is, from a hurricane, storm perspective. If we have big events any given year, it's going to impact obviously anybody that you would buy, property insurance from. But we've reached a point financially in our existence that we're able to, provide that good benefit to our members to give them some certainty. So if the big storms hit, then you're going to, kind of have a year before that would impact your pricing. So, and this past year, give you a feel, we offered it back in October of 15, and about 70% of our members, close to 300 members of our program, took advantage of that. And it was certainly a good decision. So that's just a feature that we would bring that that the competitors at this point haven't offered. So that's kind of a little brief overview of we go as preferred. For years, we were Preferred Governmental Insurance Trust, which I know is kind of a mouthful, and we were known as PIDGET, which was the acronym. So we finally, about 5 or 6 years ago, decided we kind of shorten things up, and we try to go by preferred now, so you'll hear us using that. But are there any questions of our program that you all may have?
Any questions of the board?
One other thing that Kurt left out too that's very important to I know counties your size, we have a very vigorous online training system, over 600 courses that are available to any of your employees, yourselves. We have an HR hotline where you can call and speak to an attorney on HR issues, and they can point you in the right direction. And again, for counties this size, I know that's important. You can't be sending your folks off for training, and this way you could have all that available to you through the program also.
And one other thing I appreciate, is the safety grant. We have a safety grant program where if you spend, in a nutshell, if you spend up to $10,000 a year in any kind of safety initiative, whether it's training or lighting or it's personal protective equipment, anything to obviously help control claims, we'll match 50 cents on the dollar up to that 10,000. So you would be eligible each year to get $5,000 back from this program. And I tell you, we rolled it out about 5 years ago, and it's really gone gangbusters. Our members have just really, $5,000 doesn't seem like a lot of money, but it is, no matter who you are. And of course, it also can help, keep the claims down too. So that's the big picture.
Do you have a question?
Just one. I would just like to have a copy of this that they submitted to us, given to the finance office, and then that way they can look at it and see there may be some programs in here that they might can use.
Yeah, that's exactly what the chairman was going to suggest that
And
we
of course,
did.
you gotta leave your cards. I saw
Yes,
you left
yes,
your
ma'am.
cards. Good.
But we'll have our finance look at it and see what, they know more about what we got and what we need than what we do. So that's the reason we're taking that action, because they really take care of that and try to keep the costs down for the taxpayer and also get, the most advantageous, most coverage that we can get for the dollar, so. But we do appreciate y'all coming in this morning. I hate you had to wait so long to get to it, but we just got into some stuff here this morning that need to be said and need to be discussed. And very important issues for the county, but we do appreciate y'all coming. It's good seeing you again.
Yeah, absolutely. Good to see you.
I know I've seen you at a lot of different conferences over the years, and Ms. Sanders has probably seen you more times than I have.
Absolutely.
Thank y'all for coming.
Thank y'all.
Uh-huh.
Thank y'all.
We do have a supposed to have a public hearing, but I'm ready for a break too.
Well, the public hearing and the opening of the bids are not time certain, so if you want to take a break, that's fine, Commissioners.
Board recess.
Well, let me close my paper.
Everybody ready?
Yes, sir.
We,
Yes, sir.
Board of County Commissioners now back in session. Next on the agenda will be a public hearing with Alan Pierce, Freight Logistics Zone Study.
Yes, this is, we had a little bit of a sort of miscommunication from last board meeting. Last board meeting, you had a presentation by Beth Kirkland under the title of Freight Logistics Zone, but as you may have listened, she was really talking about the airport. So yes, the last meeting was not the public hearing, but it was her talking about the economic development study of the airport. Today is the public discussion of the Freight Logistics Zone, which is that four-county project that is Gulf, Franklin, Liberty, and Calhoun County, or Gaston County, I'm sorry, Gaston County. And I went to the summit last Tuesday, and so in your packet, and if you pull up your screen, there is there's a cover page of this report, which is a product of the study, and you all get electronic copies as soon as they had a typo in here that I asked them to correct. They misspelled the word county every single time. I don't know how they managed to do that, but anyway, they're going to change that. So, but that report relates to the map that's on your screen there, which shows the 5-mile wide freight logistics zone in Franklin County. So that corridor is consistent through the four counties. It's a 5-mile wide corridor following the Apalachicola Northern Railroad. So it starts in Port St. Joe, goes all the way up to Gaston County. And for Franklin County, that's our corridor there. And what I would ask you to do is to support the study through a motion and to agree that's our corridor. And as in my report, I'll read to you sort of the synopsis. I'll get my glasses. And this is on your iPad in a location there. It's also item number 7 of my report. Board action to approve the Freight Logistics Zone, or FLZ, in Franklin County and the associated report. The FLZ is a corridor along the Apalachicola Northern Railroad from its southern terminus in Port St. Joe to a point in Gadsden County near Interstate 10. And I've given you the map there. At board direction, I attended the FLZ Summit in Liberty County last week. The summit reviewed the FLZ report and has asked each county to approve the report and the FLZ in its county. The approval of the FLZ will allow the FLZ partners, in this case, we're one of them, Franklin County, to seek funds for improvements in the FLZ. In the case of Franklin County, we would be able to seek funds to extend a rail spur to the airport, or perhaps seek additional funds for improvements of the airport. Both of these will be coming out of FDOT when money becomes available. In the case of Gulf County, which sought the FLZ initially, this will allow Gulf County to seek Triumph funds to assist in the expansion of the Gulf County Port. As the board might be aware, Gulf County is still short of funds it needs to make the port expansion it desires. The FLZ is a concept approved by the FDOT, and that makes it eligible for funding under certain programs. Liberty County does not have much FLZ interest at this time, but they're participating. And Gadsden County will be using the FLZ status to build a connection, or they hope to try and build a connection between the rail line and I-10, which will be the northern terminus. So I'll be glad to answer any questions about it. Right now, it's that FLZ is a picture on a map. That's all it is right now. As opportunities come available, we'll be able to use our FLZ status, perhaps to give us more points in grant applications. But it's something that the Gulf County asked everybody to support, and I don't have any reason not to help them in this case, because it may create jobs in Gulf County, it may create jobs in Franklin County at some point. But Gulf County is very aggressive in trying to get their port up and running, and this FLZ corridor is part of their program. So unless there's any questions, I ask the board support to adopt the FLZ zone of Franklin County in the report.
This is a public hearing.
Yeah, yes,
Any
sir.
comments from the public? There being no comments from the public, pleasure of the board.
Make a motion.
We have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Massey. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jones. Discussion.
I have some discussion. You said this is on the existing railway of the Apalachicola Northern Railway.
Yes, ma'am.
Flying over here. But, are we talking about the old railroad bed
We're talking about
that used to be here?
well, that would be where we might someday get a rail spur put back down. That's in the future. The FLZ follows the existing railroad that's still in place from St. Joe. It goes by the airport, but if you do 2 miles on either side, it clips the edge of the airport. That's why it's a 5-mile walk corridor essentially.
Okay.
So it follows.
And this is just in concept?
Yes, just in concept. yes.
Okay, because there's been more people moving around those.
Oh, I know, and we're not, the
No.
county's totally in charge, it's just in concept, but it
Okay.
allows there to be a solid corridor from Gulf County to the I-10 corridor, which is what Gulf County is really seeking, so that we can get
Okay.
some transportation along that line. But no, Franklin County is not giving up any authority or any control over this designation, it's yours. And, but it helps to be a consistent corridor from one end of the program to the other end of the program.
Should we get something like some kind of manufacturing jobs or assembling jobs at the airport, this would allow us to possibly put a railroad spur in to get it back to the railroad and get it shipped out.
Yeah.
Or using the airport, under certain circumstances of using planes to get the products out once assembled. Something we've always looked at. And there is a pot of money, Alan, if I'm not mistaken, to redo a lot of the railroad.
Yes.
But that money's been held in escrow, waiting for job opportunities or tenant that's actually going to use the railroad before they spend that, I think it's $5.5 million to rebuild, like the railroad bridge going across the Apalachicola River. So there's money set aside to do this, but they're just waiting for somebody that actually wants to utilize it before they spend that money.
Yes, the A&R,
Upgrade.
the new owners of the A&R, and I forget what their names are, but they own the A&R, and they have allocated the $5 million you're talking about, contingent upon their becoming a client at either one end or the other that's going to use the rail line for traffic.
And produce jobs and so on and so on.
Yeah.
So,
I like for it to be clear in my mind what we're doing.
Yeah,
because
this is
I
the
didn't know
concept.
I didn't know we were going to a public hearing after Miss Beth Kirkland submitted that. I
Well,
didn't know.
yeah,
Nobody
we should have said that
informed me we
then.
were going to public
yes.
hearing.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
we should have done the public hearing while she was here, but
Yeah.
somehow
Yeah.
that got
So-
dropped. So Alan's,
A&N
that's gonna be the new owner if this occurs?
No, A&R, we're using the name A&R, but it's actually, the railroad has already been sold. A company bought it a couple of years ago, and they own hundreds of miles of rail lines around the United States. There's a large company, and they're out of the western part of the United States. I forget their name now. But they already own it, and they're waiting to make improvements based upon a customer who will utilize the railroad.
We do have a motion and a second on the floor. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I have one question. It might not matter, because I know we're still talking about concepts. On this map, it says 6 sites. Which 6 sites?
They're located around the airport. They were basically 995 acres of land, and it's in this report, but 995 acres of land that tie the railroad, the current railroad line to the airport, and then the county industrial park is another site, the old work site's another site, the 200 acres of land the city owns on the east side of the airport is one of the sites. They just did an identification of large sites that are undeveloped that someday might have economic development potential.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? We do have a motion and a second on the floor. All those in favor? All opposed? That motion carries.
Thank you, and Gulf County thanks you.
Sure. All right, next would be the bid opening for the airport drainage improvements.
Okay.
Lori had given you guys, well, let me keep these three back.
So Lori is very good, so she's got, unlike what I've sometimes done is confuse everybody, she's laid it out very clearly with a base amount, and there'll be some alternates, 1, 2, and 3, on some of the, all the bidders may have tried all 3, but some of them may not have, find out. And so we'll open in order that are listed there. Great Southern Demolition. Okay. So. There's the base, yeah, but I'm just making sure, or there's the base, the question is where are the alternates? I'm gonna give you the base bid, but once again, I'm not sure where the alternates are. All right, so, the total base bid from Great Southern Demolition is $1,338,624.80. $1,338,624.80. And I will tell you that quickly looking at this, I don't see alternates, so I'm not.
How much money is allowed for this project? Do you know that?
Mr. Chairman, I do not know off the top of my head. I don't know if, here are the alternates here. I don't know. I don't have any idea. It's a
Okay.
grant-funded project, and I could get it, I could call John Collins and ask him, but I don't know.
Okay.
Okay, all right, so actually, Michael,
So go to 13 of 13, so all the way back.
okay, well, here's alternate, here's one, okay, here's one, and then,
I think they should all be on page 13.
oh, you think so?
Summarized like this.
Well, see how smart you are? I don't have to.
And what I was
Oh, there we
thinking,
are, right.
Right there.
Okay, here we are. Sorry about that. I'm trying to read the bids themselves. There's a summary. All right, so I gave you the total bid amount of $1,338,624.80. Alternate number 1 is $1,566,781.84. $1,566,781.84. Alternate 2, $1,351,091.70. $1,351,091.70. And alternate number 3, $1,074,902.70. $1,074,902.70. So those are the bids from Great Southern Demolition. Okay. Thank you, Michael. I was trying to make life difficult. And there was a bid bond also. On the first one, here's the one with the second one. So let's see. Okay, page 13, all right. So the total bid amount from the Gulf Coast Utility Contractors is a total base bid, $1,055,667.50. $1,055,667.50. The alternate number 1, $1,413,111, no cents. $1,413,111, no cents. Alternate number 2, $1,201,033 and no cents. That again was $1,201,033, no cents. And the last, alternate number 3, is, they didn't put any commas in here, so I'm gonna make sure I get it right. All right, so $978,925. 978, 925, and it is 50 cents. And this is the Gulf Coast Utilities. Okay. The third one then will be Polar Owens Construction. And here, in this case, there is a base bid and only one alternate. He did not put alternates on 2 or 3. So the base bid for construction is $1,261,763.15. That was $1,261,763.15. Then the alternate number 1, which is the only one he has, is $1,546,886.50. $1,546,886.50. And he did not fill in alternates 2 or 3. And then the next one is BKW. Okay, there are, in this case, BKW did do all the bid alternates too. So their base bid is $685,367.90. $685,367.90. Their alternate number 1 is $903,471.02. $903,471.02. Alternate number 2, $758,084 and no cents.
me that.
I'm sorry.
Say that second part again.
You're getting faster and faster now.
75.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know, I'm ramping up here, just wait till Sorry.
758.
All right, 758,084 and no cents. That was alternate number 2. Alternate number 3, 622,802 and 39 cents. 622,802 and 39 cents. And that was for,
They got a bid for 'em?
they have a bid bond, yes, sir, they all, yeah. Somewhere it was, I saw it. Here we are.
Well, he dropped down.
BKW, that was BKW.
Yeah.
They ever done any work for him?
I'm sorry?
Them people, they ever done any work around here?
Commissioner, I don't recall, but I'm going to recommend at the end we turn these over to your engineering firm to review the bids and make a recommendation.
Yeah, 'cause he's cut about half.
Yes, and it's possible that, and I say this without any knowing what the answer is, you know, when a bid is that far different, it's possible that he missed something and there's some error on the bid. We've certainly seen that in a paving program before. So that's why you turn it over to your engineering firm to make sure the bid is valid and.
You're at least $500,000 difference.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, the last one is Roberts.
CW Road.
CW
C.W. Roberts. C.W. Roberts. Okay, C.W. Roberts, sorry. Well, now, you know what? They got 12 or 13. I'm looking for 13 and 13, and guess what? It's not there. Let's see if it's on this one. So on the original, which had a summary on page 13 of 13, 13 of 13 on the original is missing. Okay. So I'm going to have to read the individual quote from the different segments because their page 13 of 13, which has a summary, is not in the packet.
Okay.
So I say that with hesitation because I don't want to miss a number somewhere. Oh, here it is. They put it in the very front. Sorry about that. They didn't put it on, they put it on 13 of 13 on front, not the back where it could have been. All right, so here's the total base bid for this last quote is $1,098,511.46. $1,098,511.46. Yes, so they should have done it. See, they didn't do 13 of 13, they did it right there somewhere.
Yeah, right
Oh,
here.
there it is, yes, yes, they got the original, yeah, okay. All right, yeah. So alternate number one, and they did all three alternates. Alternate number one, 1,323,137 and 3 cents. 1,323,137 and 3 cents. Number two, 1,179,801 and 67 cents. 1,179,801 and 67 cents. And the last one then is alternate number three, 1,037,280 and 29 cents. 1,037,280 and 29 cents. And I recommend you turn this over to Avcon for evaluation of the bids and the recommendation back to you all.
I make a second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Sanders, second by Commissioner Massey. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carried. Alan, I would, now, this one bidder is extremely low, as you've heard
Yes.
comments from the commissioners. If he's missed something, then he's out of the running, right?
Yes, if it is not a complete bid, yes, that's what your engineers review to make sure it's a complete, and there's a term that they use, complete, not accurate, but there's another term that they use in review of the bid to make sure that it's,
Okay.
that all the components are
I just want to make sure he don't come back and say, well, I missed this, and now you know what everybody else's bid is, so.
Yes, that's correct.
It is what it is.
It is what it is,
If
yes.
this low bid is not accurate, then it's just not accurate.
Right, if something has been misled, then he's not able to,
Go back and amend his bid, because he knows what everybody else's bid was.
that's correct.
So let's keep this thing transparent, like, you know. You do have a motion and a vote by the board. All right, next on the agenda would be, where'd he go? Marcia Johnson, Clerk of Court. Ms. Johnson's office does not have a report this morning. Next will be Mr. Alan Pierce, Restore Coordinator.
Okay, Commissioner, my report has some more narrative than it usually has, partly because I am talking about some actions that just take a little while to describe, so I apologize for that. First one is a board update on the state expenditure plan. I have conferred by telephone several times with Melissa Boudreau of Langston Consulting, one of the consultants for the consortium. It's a little complicated explaining how the consultants are putting together the SEP, but the summary is, and I would defer to Commissioner Sanders if I misspeak here because it is confusing. But the summary is any feasibility or planning study that a county wants to use its consortium funds on has to be done by the consortium consultants. So in the case of a new EOC, which is one of the products we have on our state expenditure plan, in the case of a new EOC, if the board wants to use some of its $12.7 million, which is our total allocation of the state plan, if we want to use some of our $12.7 million to design and build a new EOC, that description must be put into the SEP, and then the county must use a consultant selected by the consortium, because only the consultant selected by the consortium can get paid using consortium funds. Now, that's an agreement that the consortium and their legal staff and the consultants all put together. At this time, if the county wants to use its own consultants to design and engineer a new EOC, then the county will have to use its own funds to design the building. In the case of a new EOC, design and engineering funds have been estimated at $200,000. The county did not budget any funds for design and engineering of a new EOC. If the board uses the consortium consultants, then whatever the fees are will be deducted from the county's own allocation of $12.7 million. Commissioner Sanders and I have talked, and we believe that not all consortium members are happy about the position the consultants are taking. So it might be best for the county not pursue the EOC design funding through the consortium at this time and let the consortium work out this issue. Because there was a belief that there was some additional planning money available, and now all of a sudden the consultants say, oh no, if you need our help, you're going to have to pay for it out of your money. And so there's some confusion, at least from my understanding.
And then some of the other counties saying, you're not using the money that's supposed to be going to our county for your county and stuff. It's still that same old problem.
So at this point, it was Commissioner Sanders, unless you want, I'm just giving you this information, I'm not asking for any action right now, let's sort of see how this plays
Yeah.
out. We've got the EOC as a project, and we'll just leave it there and let's sort of see how that plays out.
Okay.
Well, it looked like the buddy system to me.
Yes, sir.
We talked about it a little bit at our last board meeting, but he's got us some answers there today.
Yes.